Hey guys, a new video. Today we're going to be going over the shield that I've been making, or that I have made past week. This is a 24% of physical hit damage converted to lightning and chaos. It also has increased cold resistance, it has grace aura effect, and it has purity of ice aura effect. And I would consider this shield to be the best shield in the game for a resistance armor stacker. And you might be wondering why there is no +4 or +3 to max cold resist on it. And yes, that node is very good in League, but if you consider the entire game, all standard, standard legacy items included, then you don't really need the +4 max cold res. Most people who play this build on standard are already at 90 max res from things like legacy clusters and those kind of things. So having a +4 cold res on a shield is sort of a dead stat. Now I don't really actually play standard, so it doesn't really actually matter. And in this case, for this specific character, having the +4 cold res would have been nice in terms of defense, but I am already very tanky. I have about 870k EHP to physical damage and about 600k to elemental damage. And having the +4 cold res, that would have put me at 82 all res. So that would have been about 1 million EHP to physical hit damage and about 700-ish, 800k-ish. I think it's about 800k-ish hit damage to elemental damage. So yeah, definitely will get a lot tankier, and having the 82 all res for something like fire would help against burning ground and stuff like that. But yeah, the attempts that I did on the shield with the +4 cold res all failed, and that node alone is about 90 divines on trade. So and there is really not that many of them. I think last time I looked there was only 3 online shields with that node, and 2 of those were completed shields, like already crafted. So yeah, the node is a bit too rare right now to actually consider using, and having the extra cold res does mean I get more armor from my chest over here. The evasion rating is increased by overcapped cold resistance, so I do actually end up getting a lot more damage with this +42 cold res. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with this. So in this video, yeah, we're going to go over how I made the shield. And since I did corrupt quite a few, I think about 350 plus double corrupts to actually get this corruption, we're going to go over a couple of tips that you guys can use if you want to be crafting corrupted items in the Crucible. There's a few things that I learned while doing this that I think would help you guys out. So first of all, what I did was I bought a lot of Aegis Auroras. Trading for these was probably the most annoying thing, because you have to buy them one by one. No one's really selling Aegis Auroras in bulk. And yeah, so originally I did start buying these Aegis Auroras with no Crucible tree, and then I started adding the Crucible tree. I thought maybe I might hit some interesting nodes, and I did actually get some very good nodes. I got 4 of the max cold res nodes. 2 of them were tier 2, I guess, so that's +3, or it's tier 1, I think, right? There's only 2 tiers of the cold res, I think. So I got 2 of the +3 cold res. Those are about 20-ish divines each. And then I did get 2 of the +4 cold res, and those are, on trade when I was looking last, they were somewhere between 60 to 100 divines. So yeah, I definitely made some money. I don't know if you guys want to go unveil a bunch of these or add Crucible trees to a bunch of Aegis Auroras. Maybe you make some money, might hit that plus cold res and make some bank. And I think there is definitely a lot of money to be made in adding Crucible trees to popular uniques like this. You just gotta know what is expensive, I guess, right? But anyway, so later on I did actually start buying the Aegis Auroras with the Crucible tree pre-added, because it was just taking too long. But for the first, couple hundred-ish or so, I was adding the tree to it. Alright, so after that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to scour off all of the Crucible nodes on the shields. And the reason I'm doing this is so when I combine it in Crucible eventually, it will have nothing allocated, so it'll be easier to add the nodes. And there's one important thing to note with these corrupted items is that you cannot scour nodes from a corrupted item. The only way to actually remove these nodes from the items is to actually forge them, because when you forge an item, I believe it takes away one of the nodes and you lose some XP. So you're gonna have to just basically forge the item over and over and over again until basically all of the nodes become unallocated. And I guess that is, so you could probably just do that. But also if you're crafting the item, generally the way I like to do it is I like to do left to right. I did make a video about that. You can go check out how I craft my crucible trees pretty reliably. And in this instance, I wanted to add node 1 pretty reliably, so scouring off all of the crucible nodes would make things a lot easier in the end, so I did take the extra time to go in the map and scour all these one by one. Alright, and after that, go into the temple and corrupt these. And yeah, buying the Aegises was pretty annoying, but then also buying the Vault Temples, I basically had to go camp the TFT Discord server and look for temples, people selling in bulk, and I bought these at about 0.8 divines to about 1.1 divines each in bulk. The Aegises I bought for 1 divine. I was looking for Aegis Auroras with good ES, but then in hindsight, I think it would have been better to just only look at the base value, because you can divine the item later, and we'll get into that when we get into the divining part. So I ran over 350 of these double corruptions and eventually did hit it. I don't have a clip of me actually hitting the corruption, because at that point I was pretty much done recording all of my attempts, because it was just too many attempts. Alright, so here is the finished shield. Right now what I'm doing is I am going to be divining the shield. So there is a crucible node that says the modifiers are randomized. So this basically acts like a divine orb. They do cost about 1 divine each, and so you can divine the values of the implicits and the explicits. So in this case, I didn't actually have a perfect roll on the implicits, so I just divined it with the crucible until I got 8 physical to chaos and then 8 physical to lightning. And this did take quite a few attempts. And when I was doing this, I was looking for a tree that had a similar layout to the tree my shield had. Because my shield, it didn't have any, it only had node 2 on the bottom, and then after that it just went up. So it would have been really easy to actually add a crucible tree going down to the bottom. So I was trying to kind of do that. And yeah, so I had a lot of Aegis Auroras left over from the corrupting that weren't really selling, so I decided to use all of my bricked bases to act as divines. And yeah, after a couple of tries, eventually you will get the perfect roll in the implicit. Just takes a little bit of time. Okay, so I didn't really have footage of this step, but before you start actually crafting your crucible tree, you want to actually do this primordial remnant at least 1 time, and it's the forged items have 30 quality. So you want to make your item 30 quality, ideally before you start adding the tree, because in order to actually add this, you have to, forge your item. So you might potentially be, if you do this at the very end, you might be destroying your tree completely and have to start all over again. I mean, I guess you could use the tainted currencies, to get 29 quality, but if you want to have 30 quality, you have to do this at the beginning, or you probably will never be able to get it. Alright, so now we're looking for a shield that has the first node, node 1. Node 1 is going to be the 50% increased implicit modifier magnitudes. This is going to make the 8% physical damage taken as up to a 12%. So here we are, we're going to add it. We put the shield with node 1 allocated on the top. and did add it on the first try. Very nice. The tree did kind of get expanded, so it is going to be a little bit harder to make the rest of the nodes, but yeah, I think it's a good start. Hit it on the first try, and after this I think I wanted to go for the plus max cold res. I had 2 of the +4. These are about 90, I'm just going to say 90 divines each because there is so few on trade, and they are about, you know, I think, yeah, 70, 80, 90, 100 divine for this one node. So I decided just to use them and try, why not? If I did get it, then I'll just keep it. If I didn't, then it's fine. There was another node with the cold res on node 2 that I was interested in. Alright, so this is the node 2 attempt. We're going to put on the plus cold res. And we're just checking the shields, double check. You really do want to double, triple check when you're doing these forges because one of the items will be destroyed. If you do end up deleting the wrong shield, then you're probably going to quit the league. I probably would have just stopped playing, I think, at that point. But yeah, we did add it, and so very stoked about that. Now all we have to do is node 2, or node 3, I guess. Alright, so first of all, we're going to go into a map again. We're going to scour the bases that we're going to use in the top of the Crucible tree, or I guess the donor items. I don't want any of the points to be allocated because that increases the chance that it will actually overwrite node 1 and node 2. So we're going to unallocate all of those points, and then after that we're going to level up the base item. We're going to level it up all the way up to node 2, so the +4 cold res. Alright, so this is the node 3 attempt. My base shield had an open slot in the area where I'm trying to add the grace node, so it does have a pretty high success chance to actually add the node there, and unfortunately though it did completely fail. As you can see, the +4 max cold res was still there, so we do have another shot. First of all, we need to get node 1 back, so we're going to merge them again and try to get node 1. So it didn't get node 1. The plus cold res is still there, so that is very nice. Very happy that it's still there. So we go again and try to get node 1 back. And let's see, so it did change and we still have the cold res, so very happy about that. Did manage to save the item. Alright, now we just have to go back to a map and level up node 1 and node 2 again. So I'll do that real quick. Alright, so back in the forge. Now we're going to be adding node 3. This time it's going to be the Grace Aura effect. And this is a 30% Grace Aura effect, and it has nothing allocated on the donor item, and we have nodes 1 and 2 allocated on the base item. So we'll see what happens. And well, it did not add the +4 cold res or the Grace Aura effect node that we wanted to add. So we are down to node 1. We have to go do node 2 again. Fortunately, I do have another +4 cold res, so we'll try to add that. I'm just going to go to a map, and we're going to scour node 1 from the donor item, which is going to be the +4 cold res. And then we're going to go back in the forge and try to get node 2 back again. Alright guys, remember this is a 90 divine node, so each attempt is quite expensive. Hopefully we hit it. And well, I got baited a bit. I thought that was the cold res, the icon looks the same, but it isn't, sadly. So we are actually not able to get a +4 cold res, but maybe we can get the +3. I do have 2 of those. We'll try some of those forges. Alright, so I did try 2 more of the +3 to cold res. Unfortunately, though, none of them actually transferred over. Maybe some of you guys getting mad that I'm not leveling up the tree on the top item, but this is just the way that I do it, and I found the most success. So yeah, I wasn't able to transfer over the +2 cold res, so now I'm trying to do the 42 to cold res so I can get some more armor and some more damage. And first try did fail, as you could see, and second try I think I got it here. Let's see real quick. And yeah, so I did get the 42 to cold res, very nice. So basically all we have to do now is node 3 and 4 again. So let's look at this item here. We have the implicit and the plus cold res, and on the donor item we have the grace aura effect. So we're just going to go combine them. The top item doesn't have anything allocated. The bottom item has the nodes we want to save allocated, and let's see what happens. Did we get it? Looks like the implicits are fine. And the mod did transfer over, and we still have the cold res, so very nice. Alright, so back to maps. We're going to level up the base item all the way up to the grace node. It's going to be node 3, and this is kind of why I like the method that I'm using so far of going left to right. Is basically you only have to level up one item. If I was going to be you know, going right to left, I would have to be leveling up 2 items basically, and you know, if you're leveling up to level 3 or node 3 or 4, then it's going to take quite a few maps to actually level up both items and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, with the method I'm using, you only really have to level up one item, and since the experience is saved, it doesn't really end up taking that much time. Alright, so this is the final node, node 4. We're adding the Purity of Ice aura effect. And same concept as before, the nodes we want to save are leveled on the bottom. The nodes we want to transfer are not allocated on the top. And you can see we did add it. The shield is finished. We have all 4 nodes that we want on the shield, so very happy that we eventually did get all of the crucible trees. Alright, so some closing thoughts. Let's take a look at the shield. Beautiful shield. 24% of elemental taken as chaos and lightning. We have 15 to base energy shields, very nice. The actual energy shield value on this is 324. Not like the, you know, 500 ES shields that you can see on trade, but still very nice, very high value of energy shield. We have the plus 42 cold res. This is amazing. This is like having another tier 2 or tier 3, I guess, suffix on an item. Then we have the Grace Aura effect, 25%. That's more than you can get on one of these rings, for example. The rings only go up to 20%. So even just this, even though it's not a 30%, even, you know, just having one of these extra rings is huge in terms of evasion rating. And then Purity of Ice, 30% aura effect. It does cost 25% more reservation, I believe. It is about 30 more mana. So that's just about 1 more talent point we have to use, but not really the end of the world. But the 30% aura effect does actually give me another 2 all res. So I was at 76 all res before I had that node, and now I'm at 78. So very nice. I was sitting at a total of 724% cold resistance. Very, definitely very high value. Now, in terms of cost, how much did it take to actually make this shield? Some of you might be wondering. Well, I was buying these Aegis Auroras at 1 divine each. I guess you can get them cheaper, but I was buying them at 1 divine because I wanted a high ES base shield. And also, it was faster. You know, if you're pulling out chaos and doing all this kind of stuff, it's going to take a lot more time for trading. Imagine trading 350 Aegis Auroras and doing 0.7 divine. You know, it's going to take way too much time. So sort in divines, get a nice ES base, just, you know, pull out the divines, and the trades are very fast. People respond instantly, basically. Whereas when I did try to buy for chaos, you know, it's just the trades weren't happening, you know. So anyways, so let's just say 350 divines in shields, and then each temple was about 1 divine. Let's just say I did manage to get some for 0.8 divines, but on average they were about 1 divine. Sometimes in the end going up to 1.2 divine per temple. So let's just say 1 divine per temple. That's 350 temples. So we're looking at about 700 divines just in the double corrupt attempts. Now I did actually do more than 35, so you could say about 800 divines just to get this double corrupted implicit. All right, after that, the crucible stuff. Well, if we are going to say the +4 nodes are 90 divine, let's just actually get a calculator out because it's gonna be impossible. So let's just say the actual base corruption did cost 800 divines. Then we have 90 divines for the cold resistance one. I think you might be able to snipe it for cheaper. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to say 90 because that's what I saw when I was looking for it. So I did 2 of those. So we're going to do plus 180. And then there was the plus 3 attempts that I did. Those were about 20 divines. So that's about 40. So we're looking at over 1,000 divines spent on the shield so far. The Grace Aura effect and the other ones are, you know, they can be a little bit expensive. I did get mine for cheap, so I'm just going to say another 5 divines, or maybe just maybe 10 divines or so for the other attempts. Also, the node 1 can be a little bit pricey, this one here. So overall, you can see we did spend about 1,000 divines, let's just say, to make this shield. And 1,000 divines is about 2 mirrors, and that's why you can see on trade, these kind of shields are going from 2 to 3 mirrors at minimum. So that was the cost of the shield. All right, and I guess as a little bonus, let's take a look at some of the interesting corruptions that I did manage to make. Now, please be warned that some of these items prices may not be accurate. I honestly do not know how to price a lot of these items. Yeah, but so don't be just like surprised when you see some of my prices. All right, first one, we have a +1 gems, and then +1 to socketed trapper mine. Then again, no idea who would use this, but okay, there is now there is one on trade for 4 divines. Okay, so I had no idea how much this was, and I think it is about time to lower this. Let's put it in the 5 divine stash. All right, next one. This is a base, I believe. Let's see what this base is. This has corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, and also has a T1 to maximum energy shield on the flat energy shield. I believe this is, yeah, +40 flat, so this might be a nice base. And then again, you know, there is so little of these online, I'm really not sure about the price. So okay, next one, +1 to socketed gems and level 23 determination. There is none of these on trade, online or offline, so no idea about the price of this. All right, next we got +3 AoE, +3 minion. I mean, this is like only going to happen in Crucible, but let's see if there's a +2/+2. No, there isn't. These do not exist. It's the only one in the game. No idea how to price it once again, but very interesting shield. All right, next we got a +2 duration, +2 minion. I'm really not sure, man, about these prices. See, there's one for 3 divines. I have one for 5. Let's move this into the 3 divine stash. All right, next one, level 23 discipline, and then 8% of phys damage from hits taken as cold. Once again, none of these exist on trade. Don't know, we'll never know the value. Maybe someone will make an offer. All right, next one, we have +3 to socketed AoE gems and +9 to increase maximum energy shield. So, yeah. These don't exist in the game at the moment. So yeah, we definitely did make some very interesting shield corruptions on the Aegis Aurora. Yeah. Okay, so next one, 12% of phys damage taken as fire, and then you take reduced damage from critical strikes. And we got another phys conversion with max ES. Got a +1 gem and +2 duration. I got a +2 duration and then a phys taken as, and then a 9% increased maximum life and phys taken as. And this one is probably the best I have. It is a +1/+2, so +1 socketed, +2 AoE, and this went up to a +3 because it has the implicit 50% increased implicit modifier magnitude, so it is a +4 shield. Definitely very amazing. Never will see something like this in the game ever again. So very cool. All right, next one. We got a +3 to aura gems and 12% of phys taken as cold. So this is a pretty beefy shield too, for if you want to have a mix of, you know, gem levels and some phys damage reduction. Alright, and then 5% chance to block and a phys taken as. And last one is a +1 and a plus curse, so you can get your curse up to technically a +4 if you get the implicit thing on here. I haven't actually done that here, but this could go to a +4 to a curse gem, so that's pretty interesting, I think, for I don't know, maybe some Spark build. But then again, Spark doesn't really put their curse in the shield, it's in the profane proxy most of the time. So maybe Forbidden Rider, yeah, I'm not really sure. But anyways, you get a +4 curse on your Aegis Aurora, pretty awesome. Alright, now moving on to these 10 Divine Shields. These are mostly just bases, basically. Some bases with some very good rolls, like a 30% purity of ice and that kind of stuff. So nothing really interesting on the corruptions. The rest of the corruptions were a little bit, you know, some ones that aren't all that great, like +2 aura, +2 projectile, you know, +2 AoE, +2 curse. Maybe this is nice. It actually is a +4. If the curse has AoE tag, you can get up to a +6 with this. So kind of cool. Maybe it is a little bit underpriced. And yeah, the rest of them are really not all that interesting, I would say. So definitely did make some very nice shields, very interesting combinations. Spend a lot of money. Will I make the money back? Well, maybe, maybe not. Really depends on what these shields end up selling for. Either way, I don't really think I'll make back the 1,000 divines that were spent. So there is that. But I do have my shield, and it is one of a kind. There'll never be one like it in the game ever again, unless someone tries to make an exact copy. But anyways, yeah, so total for time spent, I did this over in about a week. So it took a whole week of grinding to get the shield. And yeah, I'm a little bit tired. I never want to buy one of these shields ever again. And I don't think I'll be doing any more double corruptions for the rest of the league. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. And thanks for watching. See you next time.